and my wounds will heal, yours will not. This will all be over soon. Thank the stars, your aid arrived just in time. It warms my heart to hear these words. Perhaps you would be willing to speak with me for a brief while. It's nice to be guarded while I catch my breath for a short spell. I take it you know these lands. I am unfamiliar with these regions, I admit. I followed a strange gate, leading from the lands I've sworn to protect. My kind, we face hardship, but hostility welcomes me here too, I see. The creatures that lay before me, they resemble a people from my world. Yet the ones I know would have not acted so foolishly, or asked so many irregular questions. These creatures look foul, and their actions agree with their appearance. It is all very puzzling. I think I was right in my assumptions. You must possess a fair amount of knowledge concerning this land. I believe I'm getting to understand you better. But allow me one more question. What is your role in this world? What do you deem your purpose to be? That is a noble cause. Yet I fear that you may find much pain on your path as well. Still, perhaps you would be able to aid me in my troubles. Thank you for all you have told me. I suppose it is only fair that I introduce myself now, is it not? I am called Biocell, and I am a ranger of iron ore. I have come to this world by accident, after I passed through a strange gate I discovered, hidden just out of sight. I would not have come here, were not that my people were tasked with the protection of a tranquil land. Lately we find ourselves besieged. New threats have arisen, and I was sent out to find help or allies. Upon entering this strange world of yours, I approached this small band of Thalmor, you call them? They attacked me after I refused to answer their questions. Now I am uncertain if coming here was a mistake or not, but at least I found you. Would you care to meet my kind and its leader, or perhaps even join our cause? Whether it be honour, fame, or gold you seek, I am certain we can cater to your needs in a satisfying manner. An adventure is the very least you should expect. I hope you do not romanticize my predicament. This is no fairy tale you step into. I'm afraid you will need to find your way to our base of operations by yourself. We will meet again once you seek out the old farmhouse east of Barg End.
Did you see that? What? Something like a shadow just swept by. I think it's one of those big folks. Oh, this again. You've been smoking too much, cousin. How long do I gotta put up with this big folk invading the Shire nonsense? The Shire was peaceful enough for my parents, and by the hair of my toes it will be peaceful enough for my children too. Ain't nothing dramatic about any time soon. Well, you can keep believing that if you want, but when them big folk have you cooking their second breakfast and fetching their wine, you'll wish you would have listened to me. You look like the type that would head off in one of those adventures. Ugh, nasty things in my opinion.
No? At your service.
You look like the type that would head off in one of those adventures. Ugh, nasty things in my opinion. Boy, you're a new one round here, aren't you? Where are you off to? You look like the type that would head off in one of those adventures. Let me guess. Someone stole your second breakfast.
Well, well. What have we here? A stranger approaches the secluded base of the Rangers. And yet she didn't mention to report to the gatekeeper. That girl never was a bright one to begin with. Well, at least I have you now. From what I can tell, you check out all right. Please find your own way into the base. You should be fine. Just don't forget to shine your light on the situation. If at the end of the day you are still pondering my choice of words, then the Rangers will have no use for you. The pleasure is mine. Of that you can be sure. Give my regards to Thorman. He'll be so glad to hear from me. You will find him inside. Speak quickly.
Captain, looks like the mouse sprung our trap.
I strongly suggest you speak quickly to explain your presence here. Buyercell sent you. I suppose I can see why. Especially if you helped her from a pack of foes. But any scoundrel could pick up a name, couldn't they? Such a pity she isn't here to confirm your tale. So, just to be safe, describe her to me. I guess it is safe to say you did meet her. Perhaps we started off on the wrong foot. You may not be my enemy after all. I need one more thing before your release is warranted. What is your name, stranger? Your will may be strong, stranger, but you are still behind my bars. That wasn't so hard, was it? My name is Thorman, and I am Buyercell's captain. Your words have earned you your freedom. Now please, follow me into our base. We will continue our conversation in there.
Thorman, this is a joke, right? You're not actually going to let her in, are you? She hardly answered the way we agreed on.
You're right, she didn't. But my reasons behind this decision are my own. Go ahead and unlock her cage.
Just a fair warning. If you so much as adjust your sheath while you're in here, I'll have a dagger up your throat faster than you can apologize. I hope that's perfectly clear. Here's the key, Outlander. I'm sure you know how to use it.
Good you're back. We never got the chance to finish our discussion from earlier. What of these trolls? I suppose you think they came down from the mountains by chance as well. These are no coincidences.
Listen, Foriton, I've heard your opinion, but what would you do about the situation right now?
I don't know, something. Anything is better than sitting here talking about what could be done.
We cannot act too hasty. We need to think about our actions. Think about the consequences. We can't just barge into people's lives and disrupt their routines. We need to act with caution. That's all I'm saying.
I think Fordon has a point, though. I too am wary of sitting idly by while our enemies move out of our sight. How can we hope to do good if we cannot warrant the safety of those we're supposed to protect? How can we leave our mark on this world if we sit still?
I see what you're trying to do, both of you. You would replace my vision with your own. I'll have none of this. Thorman, you've been quiet this whole time. Surely you can dismiss their concerns.
Concerns? Sounds like you three are still not satisfied with the way I deal with our problems.
I am satisfied, Thorman. I was just telling Foridon and Tinruth that we should have faith in our capabilities.
Thursik, you coward! Hiding behind the chief again.
No need for hostilities, Tinru. Thorman, you know how I feel about maintaining a passive stance in these times.
I'm aware of your reservations. You also know nothing has changed. We need more information before we can turn to action.
Of course. But we should at least dispatch scouting parties to see what areas are threatened. What is the use of waiting until it's too late?
We would, if we could spare the manpower. Yet we cannot afford to discontinue our regular duties. I need everyone on their post, and that is that.
If you insist, Thorman. I just wish my post wasn't between the four corners of this base all the time.
Stop playing the victim, Tinruth. We know you are capable, and no, we're not holding you back. Patience is one of the final lessons you need to learn, apparently.
If only someone would actually teach me anything.
Ah, there's a familiar face. I'm glad you found your way to our base, Outlander. It took you longer than most, though. I assume you've met Thorman, our captain?
We have met, yes. And I hope the Outlander forgives me for the manner in which it happened.
I think that means you were locked up in our cage. Isn't that right? Thorman, this one helped me defeat a gang of... Thalmor, you call them? I owe my life to this Outlander.
I know. She told me about your shared battle. That display of bravery played a sizable part in the Outlander's release. I would welcome such a brave soul, if they were willing to lend a hand in some of our efforts. I assume that is why you sent her here by herself. You expressed our need for aid?
I did indeed. Therefore, I am glad the Outlander showed up. I think she will be a boon to our cause.
For better or for worse, we are in need of aid. Please speak to the other rangers while Byersell and I discuss what needs to be done.
Yes? Greetings. It is my pleasure to meet you. Despite what the others may think, I believe you will be a great boon to our company. But perhaps I speak too soon, and my words are filled with too much hope. However, we could truly use some light in this darkness, and I hope Thorman will decide to have you join our ranks. As a hired hand, of course. If I could answer any of your questions, let me know. I'm afraid you could not. Well, not a proper ranger anyway. But with a decent attitude and excellent results, what would your ancestry matter? I think you could fight alongside us if you sufficiently prove your worth. Sure.
Good day. I'm to believe that you could be the answer to our problems. Truthfully, I fail to see why we should trust you. We're doing quite well on our own, thank you. What task is there for you to do that I wouldn't be able to do myself? I just wish I had more time to perform all these extra duties. Let me know if you need any information from me. I know your type. You think you could storm in here and earn your position in the higher ranks after performing just a few tasks here and there. This isn't a group like that, friend. In any case, I joined before you did, so I'm due for promotion long before you can escape your menial tasks. I'm unsure your weak mind will fathom it. I'll try to explain it to you. While the other rangers go to the Shire and perform their tasks, I remain here to defend the base and prioritize the tasks that need to be completed. See, I knew you wouldn't understand. You, You're not even of our bloodline. I think the best you could do is perform day-to-day tasks for us. If I ever need to have my boots polished, I'll send you a note. I'll try to explain. While the other rangers go to the Shire and perform. Indeed it is. As I'm sure you could see, it allows little time for petty conversations. Of course.
Huh? You'll have to excuse me if I won't greet you with a merry smile and a hoping heart. I do not know who you are, where you're from, or why you're truly here even. I hope you will not betray the trust of Thorman and loyal Byersale. But that is the extent of my faith in you. Alas, if you have any questions for me, it is my duty to provide you with the information you seek. But I hope we can be brief. Conversations are not something I find comfort in. What reason do I have to trust you? This is not a life of glory and triumph. It is one of hardship, where the smallest of errors will result in disaster. I am reluctant to put my life in the hands of a stranger who stumbled into our base just minutes ago. I fight. I also know how to mend broken weapons and armor, and train some of the other rangers. But I mostly just meet our foes on the battlefield. Isn't much more to say. No, rangers are a kind of people, not something you can become like a title or profession. Let me be honest, I don't think you are fit for the challenges that come with the life as a protector of the Shire. But I've been known to judge others hastily in the past. Work hard and well, and you might earn your way into a more prominent position in our group. Uh-huh.
Hello, Outlander. Can I get you something?
Outlander, after some consideration, we'd like to ask you to perform some minor tasks for us. Your efforts would truly help our cause, even though the jobs appear mundane. We do not have much gold to offer, but you will be compensated for your work.
I know our offer to perform trivial jobs doesn't seem like much, but you would truly help our effort should you accept. What say you? Will you help me once more? I am happy to hear it. Take some time to explore our base, or to speak to my fellow rangers to see what needs to be done. I will see you again soon.
Yes? What are the specifics? I'm not going to lie, Outlander. The goblin raids of old, they were nothing. A darkness overshadows. We need all the help we can get. And if Byersale trusts you, then I'm willing to give you a shot. Good. You're still here. Like I said before, I wish to discuss some tasks with you that need doing. Nothing too difficult, but you might greatly aid our efforts. I have 5 different tasks you can choose from. I noticed our food stores are running low, and the base is in dire need of materials for maintenance. I also received word of a wolf pack about to cross the Shire borders, and that goblins have set up camp in our territory. Finally, I understand that strange folk have been sighted in some of the villages in these areas. What matter would you like to attend to? We are currently attentive of 3 halfling settlements where suspicious big folk have been sighted. Furtherhill, McHale Dolving, and Haffington. Go to each of these locations and discover what you can about the strangers there. Then, report back. If you have trouble locating them, try the innkeeper in each town. It's likely to be all they talk about anyway. We'll discuss your payment in larger detail when you return. Is there something you need? Now that that's over,
Did you speak with Thorman?
Yes, and he gave me the letter. We're rangers by ourselves, Brisbane. Why do we bother with these trivial tasks?
That letter could save a lot of lives, if delivered in time. Right now, the Shire needs that letter in the right hands more than they need a goblin or bandit camp cleared. Hello? Not at all. What's on your mind? Yes, I can see how something like that could be mispronounced. It's buy or sell, kind of like the options you have at a market, actually. Why? Do you think you could have come up with anything better? Brotgull? That sounds like an orc. Or a frog. I think I'll stick with buy or sell for now. Well, I personally believe you have a purpose here. I do not know what path led you down to the Skyrim Gate, what quest sent you that way, or why I found you of all people, but I believe it was for a reason. Some might find my trust absurd, but I think you are tied to the Shire in a way some would think impossible. That the fate of the Shire is in your hands and yours alone. Courage is found in the most unlikely of places, after all. Why? Perhaps it is because I am afraid, and you give me courage. A tour? There's not much, but if you follow me, I'll show you around. Here's the main chamber, where we typically hang around in between missions, or when there's nothing else to do. But don't worry, nowadays we're a lot less likely to run into that problem. Foradant mainly sticks around here throughout most of the day. In here is our kitchen. We keep the majority of our food and drink supply in these shelves, or on the counter. Feel free to help yourself to anything you find. Behind there is my potion and medicine lab. You'll find me in there most of the time, if I'm not in the field or resting. In this cavern extension of our hideout, there is a small archery training ground, as well as a forge, and all the necessary components that go along with it. If you're ever looking for Durusk, this would be a good place to check. Now, follow me back this way. Down here is our sleeping quarters. The bed on the southwest corner will be yours from now on. Also, if you can't find Tinruth, try going up the stairs on the east side. She's up there, keeping a watchful eye on the happenings outside our base, most of the day. Down there is where we keep our library. Most of the content down there is based upon Shire folk tales or history. A good bit of reading, if you have the time for it. This is Thormin's office. To the surprise of only fools, this is where you'll typically find Thormin. He plans out missions and compares notes here. Let's just say that should the day come when you find out, you will have accomplished much more than Thormin or any of the others think possible. I think you have great potential, and no small amount of luck. But whether or not you see what is beyond this door is not for me to decide. Nevertheless, I think it possible, maybe even probable, for someone like you. Not at all. What's on your mind? Stay safe.
I've got the best wearers in all the Shire. Yeah, all of Middle Nern, I'll wager. And maybe even beyond. What do you want? There was an half-orc in town about a week ago. He was looking to buy some arrows off a few of the merchants here, but he demanded an unreasonably low price for them. After being denied, word is he headed north into the Brinbale Wood. I guess he's moved on from there. But if you're looking for him, that might be a good place to start. Hope you come again. I should get back to my armchair.
Do I know you? Keep your voice down. I'm hunting deer, and they're skittish enough without you yelling. People need to be fed, and I need to be paid. Doesn't get much simpler than that. My boss doesn't like to be known by outside folk, and he doesn't like we talk to outside folk about him. Wonder where I left my drink. Yeah? Keep your voice down. I'm hunting deer, and there's... What are you doing? Now I'm liable to wait several more hours. You've practically ruined a whole day's work, you fool. What are you talking about? I'm doing just fine. This isn't my first time hunting. Plain sight. Why I was stalking a deer. That's why I was walking about. My stench? Impossible. I just bathed the morning before last. And my arrows... Well, perhaps you have something there. But it's hardly my fault. You know those little fellas back in Furtherhill? A bunch of overly suspicious worms, if you ask me. I just stopped by their shops to do some honest trading, and what do? Shun me. Those halflings better learn a thing or two about how to treat us big folks soon. 'Cause in the future, when new leadership is present, we won't tolerate that sort of behavior. What have you got? It's a deal. Ah, these are nice. Strong shaft, sharp head, crisp fletching. Expert craftswork. The master will have to see these. Pleasure doing business with you. You agree? That's good. It's not often I run across someone who shares my views. And I've seen you know a bit about hunting. I'll keep this conversation of ours in mind. Then if you ever find yourself in need of a job, I'll put in a good word for you with my boss. But until then, I need to finish up my work here. Wonder where I left my drink. Yeah?
Care to look at my wares? It will only take a moment of your time. If you're looking for those of a strange nature, I'm afraid you just missed them. 2 of them, from Bray by their looks. Up to no good, if you ask me. They just stepped outside before you came in. Doubt they've gotten far since. Hope you come again. Welcome to the best tavern in Halflington, the Emerald Flagon.
You don't seem to understand, Mr. Lonesmith. These tomatoes just aren't worth what you've listed. They're worth what my friend here says they are. And what is that anyway, Barry?
Judging by the ripeness, I'd say they couldn't be worth more than 2 gold each.
2 of each? I couldn't.
Oh, but you will, Mr. Lonesmith. What'd you think you were selling? A batch of perfect tomatoes? These are far from it.
All right, it's a deal. Just take to be gone.
Don't be in such a hurry to see us off. You should expect many similar transactions in the future. Do I know ya? Why would I care if you did? It was just an honest business transaction. The little fella agreed to the terms, didn't he? It's not as if we forced anything out of him. What's it matter to you anyway? We didn't come after your stock, did we? You should stop sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. Someone might cut it off. Are you threatening me?
Wait, Will. Remember what the master said. There'll be another time.
Yes, I'm well aware of what he said. Alright, outsider. Consider yourself lucky. We'll do what you say this time, but I'd be more careful about whose business you interfere with in the future. You may not be as fortunate. Hey, Mr. Low himself. This fella here has a problem with our arrangement. Said we should give you the merchandise back.
No, I don't want them back. Just keep them. It was a fair trade. Now let that be the end of it.
Hear that? He doesn't even want him back. It'd appear all your vigilance was for nothing. We win after all, outsider. Do I know ya?
Care to look at my wares? You won't be disappointed, my friend. Oh, and remember, I'm not to be held responsible if anything breaks on you. You look like the type that would head off in one of those adventures. Well, you can bet by the hair on your toes I have. Right here in this inn of mine. Don't suppose you've overheard that big folk in the corner, have you? He's been in here all week, drinking the good stuff and not paying for it. Keeps yammering on about nonsense, too. Different times are coming. New leadership, fair distribution of goods. That typical doomsday stuff. I'd ask him to leave, but I dare not confront a fella like him. Goodbye.
What's this about? Huh? No. No, you can't be one of them. Not here. Not now. No, wait, Rangers? No, that can't be right. I thought you were somebody else. What does it matter? You're not one of them. So if you just tell me why you're bothering me, I can get back to my drink. What's it about? No, and it's getting awfully late for jokes. Besides, to help me you'd have to have about 200 gold tucked away in those pockets, and the will to part with it. Nobody would do that for a drunken coward like me. Well, if you gotta know, I work for a man. Okay, I worked for him. Dark and shrouded was he. I never quite saw his face or much anything else. He wanted me to deliver a shipment of supplies he'd brought from one of the locals. He said it was just some barley and wheat, but from the weight I would've guessed it was something like stone or lumber. Maybe weapons. Doesn't pay to be asking what you're transporting though. Not that I would've dared to anyway. Seemed like he'd rather keep his business to his own. That's not to say I wasn't half tempted to take a peek inside one of those crates. I didn't, of course, but I couldn't help feeling a mite bit curious. All the more so when my carriage was ransacked by thieves on the road to Tuckberg. Pitch black it was. Didn't see a thing besides the cloak of one of them heading off the road with swift feet. But when I stopped to check the load, I discovered I'd been robbed. Can't say. When I finally built up the courage to inform him he was nowhere to be found. Instead, there was another man. An associate of his, as he explained. Anyway, so the man was very straight to the point. Saying he needed to compensate their loss. Pay him back for everything that was stolen. I tried to explain that I didn't have that kind of coin, but then he threatened to kill me. From there, I didn't know what to do. So I made up a story about heading for Doland. But instead I just came here to drink until I think of something. That's my story. Now, about that deal we had. You're really serious? You don't even know me. I don't know what to say. Thank you. Thank you, stranger. Goodbye, innkeeper. Goodbye, ale. Goodbye, cheap innkeeper's ale.
What about your tab? You still have to pay for those drinks. Ugh, big folk. I haven't eaten a thing in at least 3 hours.
Do I know you?
Make it.
Yeah?
Goodbye.
The ruffians seem to be getting younger. Some now entering the borders aren't even old enough to grow their first chin hair.
Our enemy is in need of muscle. Anyone stronger than the local halflings will do.
Maybe I should join up.
I'm not an authority on jokes, but that one was awful.
I wasn't joking. I could work from the inside. Report back on their secrets and such.
You have many skills, Chinruth, but your looks are far from that of a ruffian. You would be discovered, interrogated, and killed. I see you've returned. What did you discover? This is no coincidence, then. Thank you for this information, Outlander. Here is your reward.
I'm in the middle of something right now. What do you need? See you.
Outlander, what would you like to do next? We've overheard rumors of goblin camps here in the Shire. Nevertheless, there is a slight possibility these rumors have some truth behind them. In any case, I suggest you proceed with great caution. Correct you are. They would not risk being seen by the locals, and especially not by us, not unless they were planning a night raid. Luckily, none have dared attempt one of those for a great long while. The goblins around here are more clever than most, and will undoubtedly be tucked away in the shadows, invisible to the untrained eye. Once you find the entrance to their camp, there will most likely be a riddle for you to solve. No two goblin riddles are the same. That said, your mission is to search the area where our rumors point to, and see if you can find the goblin camp. If you do, find out how to get inside by solving the riddle, and then get that information back to me as soon as possible. That is it. We'll handle it from there.
Good day. My past? Wow, no one's ever asked me that before. I mean, of course. Typical newcomers are quite likely to find even the dullest days of a ranger interesting in comparison to their own lives. I must have forgotten that. Figured as much. Not many can claim to lead as an exciting life as I have. Now anyway, you asked about my past. I was raised alongside a Donan, my older brother, by my aunt and uncle. My uncle took it upon himself to teach a Donan the tricks and values of a ranger when his work permitted. I guess he must have felt bad about excluding me from their exercises, because it was not long before I was involved in the training. The Donan wasn't the slightest bit fond of this, however. I guess being beaten in a spar by his younger sister was too much to handle. He'd probably still complain about it today if you were here. One. But it was an intense one. If you'd talked to him, he'd probably say I rigged it. But how was I supposed to know where the end of the cliff was? Well, we used to battle everywhere we could. The higher up, the better. And I may have tripped him. But I certainly didn't know he'd fall 10 yards in the air. I just assessed the situation and worked quickly to take full use of my advantage. Something did. Or rather, he brought something upon himself. I don't really want to talk about it right now, okay? In fact, there's some other tasks the others wanted me to carry out. I should probably get those done. Maybe later, alright? I prefer to focus on the present or future for the moment.
tracked that group of spies to the old watchtower in the grass fields, but I couldn't get in without causing suspicion.
The old watchtower has been abandoned for some time. It should not surprise us that those men chose to camp there.
I don't understand why I couldn't finish them off when I had the chance.
Because they are not who I'm after. If we catch a few underlings, the enemy will use someone else. If we keep an eye on the underlings, then we will soon find their master. And then, the Rusk, we can worry about finishing them off.
I'm all for cutting the head off the snake. I just hope it will reveal itself before it's too late.
Were the rumors true? You did what? You're a fool. My orders were to discover the way in and get that information to me. That was it. You cannot solve every problem by swinging an axe into it. There's a good chance you only shook their nest, and the last thing we need is a goblin clan going berserk across the Shire. But perhaps I am being too harsh. While it is true you disobeyed my orders and I will not endorse that behavior, you did clear out a goblin camp by yourself. That is no small feat, and it should not be overlooked. Here is your reward. See you.